Man, I gotta come up with a new video to do. What's relevant right now? There's gotta be something I can talk about with passion. What the heck is that?
SPD emergency! Power Rangers SPD, Power Rangers to the rescue! Power Rangers SPD, Power Rangers. Heroes on your side, heroes for all time. I'm the same to you, universe. No matter where you are. Always fall out. Space Patrol, Space Patrol, Space Patrol, Space Patrol down. Power Rangers SPD, Power Rangers to the rescue. Rangers SPD, Power Rangers to the rescue.
I think I got it. I'm going to do a video on puppies. Everybody loves them. Hello Ranger fans, and welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite wannabe Wu-Tang Clan member, aka Jesse, aka the Golden Green Ranger. Why? Because my boy Tommy had a dragon dagger, and Jason, well, he had that gold power staff. And that is awesome. Let's just admit it. Listen, let's get right into it. Today's subject, Power Rangers SPD, the greatest opening to a Power Rangers series. Wow, this is going to get deep. Let's buckle up.
Mind if I ask a question?
It's gonna be one of those long, drawn-out bridge-type questions that really isn't a question, but leaves us asking lots of questions.
I ask long, drawn-out questions? Okay. Wouldn't now be a good time to morph?
Yes!
Ready! Ready! SPD! Emergency! SPD blue! SPD green!
Looking good, Bridgie. You're green.
Hey,
and I'm
cool.
pink. My favorite color.
Blue? I'm blue? I'm supposed to be the Red Ranger.
Now let's start off with the obvious. SPD, they had an uphill battle. And what do I mean by that? It came directly after Dino Thunder, which saw the return of a beloved Ranger in Tommy. So the next season had to go all out. I'm talking about impactful, something we can remember. And when I tell you, boom, baby, SPD is that season, they knew how to start a show. And start a show they did. And let's talk about that.
Cadets, I trust you've enjoyed your training here at the SPD Academy.
Well, since you asked, the fluorescent lighting gives me a bit of a headache. Yes, sir.
But in order to talk about it, we got to get into each Ranger and how the first two episodes, beginnings 1 and 2, set up each Ranger and not only set them up, set up their eventual story arcs. You see, I'm not going to do a season review here. That'll come at a later time. I'm going to talk about the brilliance of the first two episodes and how each Ranger got their own story arc started. Let's talk about one of my favorites this season, Sky. You see, Sky on paper is the Red Ranger. I mean, he has the look. He is courageous. He is tough. He's the best cadet out of the B squad. So it would obviously look like he's given the red power. But we know the twist. Sky ends up being blue. And the reason Sky ends up being blue is because his attitude. Although on paper, he's exactly what a Red Ranger needs to be, he's not a leader yet. Not only is he not a leader, he has that wrong attitude.
Why Red Ranger, Cadet? Lots of reasons. I'm top on B Squad in test scores, weaponry, and in fighting. As you know, sir, my father was the Red Ranger. Ever since I was a little kid, I've trained for the day I become like my dad. The next Red Ranger.
Your father was the best of Rangers. If you're anything like him, we will all benefit by your service. Dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
Cadet, if I was to appoint Sid as Red Ranger, would you follow her into battle?
Sir, she's a girl.
Or Bridge?
I like Bridge, but in all honesty, sir, he's not a leader.
I see. Thank you for your honesty, Cadet. That will be all.
Sir.
Then there's Sid. Sid is the Pink Ranger this season. And what's so unique about Sid is she's that typical Pink Ranger that's into fashion, into hair, but she's also tough as nails. So she doesn't just conform to one idea of what a Pink Ranger has to be. She threatens Sky multiple times in the first episode with physical violence. She tells Bridge to keep his mouth shut when she doesn't want to hear it. And throughout the series, we eventually see some growth in her. But the first episode does an amazing job establishing she's not just a one-sided dimension character. And while we're on the subject of not one-sided dimensional characters, can we talk about Bridge? Oh, who doesn't love Bridge? Bridge, he's my heart. Bridge is the Green Ranger this season. Now, Bridge is that unique Ranger because he teeters on the line of brilliant to annoying. And I always think he walks that line fine. He has some of the best lines this season, and he's so well established. What I like about Bridge is they set up his powers this season in the first episode. And not only do they set up his powers, they set up his brilliance. He's a very intelligent character. He overanalyzes everything, and that plays a little later in the series. But it's really neat to see the setup in the episode of how he overanalyzes everything, even getting called out on how he asks long, drawn-out questions.
Mind if I ask a question?
Give me one of those long, drawn-out bridge-type questions that really isn't a question, but leaves us asking lots of questions.
I ask long, drawn-out questions? Okay.
Then, of course, there's Z. Z has amazing growth in just this first episode. You see that she's a good person. She wants to do good by everybody, but she wants to do it on a bigger level. She's working with Jack, and she says, this is not enough for me. I want to do good in the world, but just stealing and giving to the poor, this whole Robin Hood thing is enough. I want to make an impact. And that's why she jumps at the opportunity to become SPD Yellow. Not only do we see that through Z, we see one of the most brilliant things about the show. You see, in the first two episodes, it's explained that aliens now live on Earth, but most of them live in poor conditions. And Z really is that bridge to show that although the SPD are the heroes of the season to many, to these aliens living in these poor areas, they're the villains. To the point where they don't even want anything to do with them. They see SPD, they go running. All right, they be like, "Oh no, it's the Popo, let's go." I know that was a terrible impression, but you get my point. Not only did they set up Z for wanting something bigger, they used her to explain that not to everybody are the SPD Rangers the heroes.
It's cool, Piggy. They're with me. Is it alright if I go in on the street where it's...
And then there's Jack. Man, what can I say about Jack? Jack's the Red Ranger this season. And when I tell you he breaks the mode of what a Red Ranger is, it's unbelievable. You see, he starts off the first episode as a thief. You realize he has this super kind heart and he wants to give everything he can. And he even turns down the Red Ranger position originally, saying, "I'm no police officer. I ain't no cop. I ain't no ranger." But after seeing Z in trouble, he runs headfirst into battle and decides it's his chance to help. That's what motivates him. Not the idea of being a ranger or the glory or the bigger picture. That one person that needed help. And it's so interesting to see a Red Ranger that simplified. that the idea of him becoming a ranger is because one person needed help. One person needed help, and he ran into battle. I like Jack because he ain't your grandma's Red Ranger. He's something new. And the growth he has in this season, eventually becoming an amazing leader, is unbelievable. I can go on and on about Jack. But you know what? I'm just going to say this. Jack, I salute you, sir. Thank you for breaking Power Ranger norms.
Name's Boom.
Jack. You must be the new Power Ranger.
No. I'm not a Power Ranger. I turned down the position. Excuse my bluntness, but what are you, whacked? I would give anything to be a Power Ranger. Me? I flunked out of the academy after only 3 days.
Next, I really have to talk about Boom and Cat. Unfortunately, Cat doesn't get the growth in the first 2 episodes like everybody else. She does later on in the series, but we're really just going to focus on these first 2 episodes. Cat's a brilliant character nonetheless. She makes the Rangers tech, and she's second hand to Commander Cruger. Cat is shown to be brilliant, smart, and kind of beautiful. I mean, I don't know how to feel. I mean, she's a cat. I'm questioning so many things. But let's move on. Let's talk about Boom. Now, Boom actually gets a decent development in these first 2 episodes. What could be just a comic relief this season is actually given depth, given growth. You see, when Jack turns down the Ranger position, it's Boom that lets him know being a Ranger is so important. He wanted to be a Ranger, but he failed out of the academy. But he was given an opportunity to be the weapons tester, and he jumped at it because he wanted to do something big with his life. If you want to see Boom's brilliance, I want to show a clip from the first episode where you see his hesitation and yet excitement about giving the Rangers their morphers.
Simulated training. But this time, the game is real. SPD morphers. They are, without a doubt, your best friend. They are also judgment scanners. They will assess the guilt or innocence of those you take into custody. Boom. Guilty or innocent of eating the last slice of chocolate cake today?
Me? No. No, I didn't.
The scanner reads body temperature, pulse, and electrical impulses and renders a verdict. Guilty.
But,
And it does not make mistakes.
okay. I'm guilty. But it was just a piece of cake!
That leads me to Commander Cruger. Can we talk about the brilliance of Commander Cruger? Doggy Cruger. You see, he's set up as the Power Rangers' mentor, their leader, and the person they go to for advice. What I like about him, and what it shows during this episode, is he's not always quick to give you the direct answer. Sometimes he wants you to work for it. When he interviews Sky and asks him, why the Red Ranger? He already knew, most likely, the direction he was going in. But he let Sky dig himself in that hole to prove that he was not ready for that Red Ranger position. Not only that, we get hinted to his dark backstory. Commander Cruger was so perfect in this setup that when we were eventually rewarded with him becoming the Shadow Ranger, it just feels so grand. I know we're not talking about later in the series, we're just talking about the first 2 episodes, but I want to say just this initial meeting make it so worth it to see him don that Shadow Ranger suit. Even foregoing the fact that he fit that massive head into that tiny helmet. Hey, it's Power Rangers. But Commander Cruger, the best mentor to a Power Ranger. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you Mighty Morphin fans are going to be upset and be like, Zordon, Zordon. You know what? Zordon never got out of that tube, baby. Okay, that man was stuck in a time warp. But my Commander Cruger, he threw down. That dude was a war hero, son.
Bit of a headache.
Now, I'm always a stickler for a good villain. And man, do we have a setup for an amazing villain this season. Emperor Grum is terrifying. You see, I've complained in the past about raspy voice villains. I don't like them. But Emperor Grum, you can tell from just his initial setup that we're dealing with an evil force here. Not only that, you can see it all over Commander Cruger's face of just being terrified that this villain's returning. We don't get much setup on what he wants, but it does a great job of setting up that he is a threat. The last 2 things I want to talk about are something that I think that's really, really neat. You see, we don't follow the best team of Power Rangers this season. No, we follow the B Squad. See, the A Squad is introduced in this episode, and it actually hints to where the A Squad eventually goes. We won't go into that, but anybody that's watched the series knows that's one of the best twists in Power Rangers. But the fact that we follow the B Squad gives us a chance to identify with not the best of the best, but somebody that's striving to be the best of the best. And isn't that what we're all trying to do? Strive to be better? It was just such an rewarding thing to see Rangers that aren't just great at everything, that they're trying to grow to be better. And that's what I really liked about this season. You see, we have expectations when we watch certain things. We had expectations when we watched Power Rangers that we were getting the best of the best. And this season said, hey, here's your expectations. Throw them out the window, son! Because everything we expected went a different direction. We expected somebody like Sky to take that Red Ranger mantle, but it was given to Jack, a thief. We expected the mentor to just be some floating head or some guy in a chair, but Cruger didn't just stand by. He eventually became a Ranger. We expected to follow the best of the Power Rangers, but instead we're given the B Squad, people that are trying to be better. Each character is given their chance to grow. Each character is given their chance to shine. And I want to say most of that's done in the first 2 episodes. Come on, man. I don't want to hear any of this SPD ain't that great. Disney era Power Rangers isn't that great. If you don't respect the brilliance of SPD, especially beginnings 1 and 2, well then you're just not opening your eyes. I'm sorry. That just about brings us to the end here. You know, it's been a fun journey, and I love talking about one of my favorite seasons of Power Rangers, even if it's just the first 2 episodes. But let's talk about something serious. You see, we all have power within ourselves. Yeah, even you. You have the power to take that mighty finger and hit the like button, and then subscribe and comment and share. Listen, I do this for fun, but engagement's nice every once in a while. Anyway, it's always nice to have you guys watch these videos. It's a labor of love, and I'm trying to make them better every single week. But hey, there's one more thing I got to tell you. May the power protect you.